Hey there, Thick Thoughts. Ask and you shall receive, and by that I mean merch. Have you wanted to support us and look stylish repping that thick thought look? Well, here's your chance. Visit teespring.com/stores/thickthoughts and view a nice catalog of hoodies, shirts, mugs, and more. You can proudly show that you are the thickest of thoughts to all your friends, neighbors, and that one dude that decided to use the elliptical right next to you when he has the whole rest of the gym to work out in. Again, that's teespring.com/stores/thickthoughts. Look fabulous and be the thickest of thoughts. And now, on to the episode.
Podcast and all, and she's like, I should start one with other people I talk to all day. I'm like, you should, trust me.
That would be super interesting.
Yeah.
Like a hairdresser conversations podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. So she was excited to hear about it. She goes, oh, you gotta let me know when it's out and I'll listen. I'm like, yeah, for sure. So
No, yeah. So
well,
So hi everyone, welcome to the Thick Thoughts podcast. I'm Ellie, and I'm with my beautiful co-host Sarah.
Hi. And we're with the lovely, and talented, and notorious SleevedUpDre.
Lovely, talented, and notorious. Okay, that's a good start. Never heard of that before, but I'll run with it.
So, Dre, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your life and how you came to the weight loss surgery Instagram community?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, raised up in a great household, loving parents. I was very fortunate that I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. Always grew up as the bigger kid. As you can tell by my post, I'm pretty tall, right at about 6'6". But I remember being a kid in 4th grade and already weighing like 200 pounds. So, by the time I, got to junior high, stuff like that, I remember being 240, 250 pounds. And then my freshman year of high school was already at 310. So I lived a pretty big overweight life, but I was very athletic for my size. I played football, basketball, baseball. I even participated in track. I didn't run. Oh, actually, I did have to run an event, but I threw the shot puts, simple stuff like that, and just was always busy and active in sports. But once the sport stopped, then the weight kind of packed on, and about 12 to 13, 14, 15 years of it, it took a toll on my body, and hence where I'm in the position I'm at right now. So.
And when did you what brought you to the decision to have
So I'm 38. I had the surgery when I was 35. Actually 35. So I was 36 that year, but 35 I had the surgery. I first looked into it when I was about 26, 27. This was back in 2006, 2007, back where gastric bypass was the only option, or RNY. And when I looked into it, and for people that have it, great path, whatever, but that wasn't for me. And I got kind of freaked out at the thought of your whole stomach being removed kind of thing. And I put it on the back burner. Plus, mentally, physically, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't mature. I loved to, unfortunately drink a lot, party, eat what I want, do what I want. I was in a industry where it was work hard, play hard, and I definitely lived life to the fullest. And with that, I packed on a good 150 pounds in a couple of years. Yeah. And it was taking a toll on me. I still tried to play softball and stuff like that, and I got hurt, and just by swinging too hard, I popped my back, just dumb stuff like that. So I stopped playing it. I started golfing, and have a passion for it ever since. But that started taking a toll, even going golfing, because I was so overweight and putting so much weight on my back, where I always had back trouble. I had back surgery in 2008. And I thought that was my cure all. And unfortunately, after I lost some weight and tried to start exercising after the surgery, I just fell back on bad habits. So it's been pretty much a yo-yo for me. And I revisited again when I was 35. A family friend who she's on Instagram, but she really doesn't have a weight loss page. But she was kind of like the trailblazer for me. I did a post about it a couple of years ago about it, but she basically had the VSG, and I saw her like before she had it, and then a couple months later, and then a year later, and then so on. And I saw how much weight she lost, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. What do I got to do? And she gave me the doctor's number, called them, went in there, did my weigh-ins. First, my insurance company is like, hey, you got to wait 6 months of weigh-ins, no problem. I did my 5 months, and then I decided to switch jobs. So I had to miss a weigh-in. So when I went to my new insurance company, they made me do another 6 months. So
that sucks.
Yeah, so I had almost a year of weigh-ins where I was once again up and down, with the whole weight loss thing, trying to do it myself.
Yeah. I think that like you talk about you like explored it before, like for many years before you ended up going into and deciding to do it. I think that like, I know that for me, before I ended up pursuing it, like it was something I looked into years and years before, and then I just like chickened out. And I feel like if you're choosing weight loss surgery, it's something like you have to like, it's like you have to be in this good mental space to like finally pursue it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. So my kind of attitude is I'm either 150% or I'm 50%. So either I'm all out or I don't give full effort. And I just wasn't ready when I was in my mid-20s. Like I said, I like to party, drink a lot, binge eat, whatever it was, whatever you want to call it. Didn't exercise a lot. So it was a lot. But when I matured in age and knew this is what I had to do, this is what I needed to do, I said, I had that conversation with myself where it's, Andre, we got to do this. You got to go 110%, do what you got to do to get physically and mentally right for it. And it just worked out great so far. It's going to be my 3-year on February 1st. So being
That's
3 years
exciting.
out. Yeah, no, absolutely. I push myself every month. I always post about goals, about trying to have goals to better yourself, physically, mentally, whatever it may be. But I just find that with doing the same routine every week, it kind of gets old, but you got to make little challenges to yourself. So, some people come out with that ab challenge. I did a plank challenge a couple months ago where something new every month I'm trying to incorporate in just so it's not the same boring grind every day. Because, when I wake up in the morning, especially now when it's 0 degrees outside and the bed's nice and warm, that's the last thing I want to do is get up, go to the gym. So even me, with all my posts about going all the time, I still struggle every day. I'm not a robot. I do struggle every day of getting motivated and getting up, but it's just something that I ingrained in my brain that I have to do every day. So
yeah.
Do you think that like when I think we talked about it with Wally, but like when you were looking into the weight loss surgery from your end when you were like in your mid-20s, do you think that there was like a stigma or anything that you kind of had to like face or like got a little bit of backlash from like friends or people that you probably told you were looking into it?
I really didn't get backlash. I have a very, very amazing support group, from coworkers to my friends to most importantly my family and now my wife. Everybody's been 110% supportive of this. I have friends who crack their jokes here and there, about my post or stuff like that. But it's all in good fun. But I just think I wasn't ready. I was not ready at all. That's honest opinion. I wasn't ready to give up the life that I was living. And not that you have to give it up, but you just, for people who are listening that are on the fence about it, you got to make sure you're gung-ho about this. You can't be wishy-washy. Like I said before, 3 years of going in. I've been on Instagram maybe for, 2.5 years of it, but I've seen a lot of accounts close up. I've seen a lot of people regain, and it breaks my heart to see that. But it's a tough battle. Every day we have a struggle. And I don't want to call them normal people, but people who had food addictions like us, because let's face it, we all, at one point, we're addicted to food. You need food to live. So if you need it to live, and it's hard, it's a slippery slope when you're making your choices of what you want and what you need. You know what I mean? If that makes sense to you.
Oh yeah. And I think to talk about like when you finally make that decision, the thing is like, I think a lot of people have this conception that once you have weight loss surgery, that's it. Like you're gonna lose weight. But then the same people who have that assumption that people who have weight loss surgery, it's like easy for them, are also the people who are like, oh, well, the person I know who had weight loss surgery, they gained it all back. And the thing is, like, I think everyone reiterates this, especially on Instagram, but like even at my doctor's office, like your surgical sleeve or bypass or whatever is a tool. Like if you don't use it, then it's useless. And so when you go into it and like you're making that decision to finally have it, like you need to, like, I think when I was younger also, like I wasn't ready. Like I wasn't ready to give up like going to McDonald's and having a meal and a McChicken sandwich, you know? But yeah, I think that like you just have to be in a good mental space, because after surgery, the mental game is probably the hardest part.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of that, the mental aspect of it is much harder for me than the physical part of it. It's just, you always want to fall back on bad habits. So whether if it's work, you're in a stressful situation, my go-to comfort was always food. When I was a kid, had a bad day, come home, my mom like, oh, let me fix you something to eat, comfort. So food for me was always a comfort. And when I take that out of the equation, I got to replace it with something, whether it's working out, whatever it may be. But as humans, we get used to the same aspect of things and going through the same process of dealing with stuff. And when you have to shift it up, it plays mental tricks on you. I mean, I'm sure you guys dealt with it too.
Mm-hmm. Something, so who were we talking to about how, like some families, I think in specific, like cultures, like people use food as like, an expression of love. So like, I know that in my boyfriend's family, like his family's Mexican. So like, I don't think that they don't need to say I love you, but they'll bring you a plate of food and like put it on your plate and then like watch you eat it. So like, do you think that was like an experience with your family? Like you come home from school having a bad day and your mom's like, here, let me love you with all this food.
110%. That is my family. I come from an Italian family. So big Italian family. All our parties, all events, all social gatherings, everything is based around the food. It's always food. And there's a lot of it. I mean, even now, meal prep has been so easy for me because I've been used to cooking so much, because that's how I've always learned how to cook, was to cook in abundance, because you always have people and you want to feed people all the time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My family has been very, very, very supportive. Like, and I sometimes think I take that for granted just because I know that there's other families who have to do this in secret and they don't feel comfortable sharing and stuff. So I think it's, the love that comes along with the food is like great, but it's also like, let's hold back on the food just a touch.
Yeah. I mean, for example, my wife and I, she met my aunt and uncle a couple of years ago for the first time when we first started dating. They want to have us over, meet her, et cetera. So we went over there, and funny enough, my aunt and uncle both had gastric bypass. So they lost a ton of weight, but my uncle's that old Italian guy, eat, always wants you to eat. I'm like, listen, I got the same stomach as you. I can only put so much, and still that he knows that he went through it all, he still, sees to push it. Oh, you want more wine? You want some bread? Everything. And it's like, no, I'm good, dude. Like, no more. It's hard to say no, but you get to that point where I'm sure we've all been to it, where you're on that borderline of, hey, I'm going to be sick, or let's cut it down. So yeah, that's absolutely the case with that. But food in like you said, in cultures equals love, and that's something that I had to deal with mentally as well too.
Just to add on to that idea of you like meal prepping and stuff, because you have to make food for so many people, like my new thing that I'm trying to learn is I have to learn to cook for one person because that one person meal will like feed me for like 2 days. But
Yeah.
but the thing is, I'm used to being like, oh, it calls for a whole pound of beef, or whatever it is. I'll use the whole thing, and then I'll have like a ton of Tupperwares full of the same thing, and I'm just
Yep.
like, and then
Oh my God.
So it's like I'm making
really
food all the time.
Yeah, and
Well-
I hate wasting food on the same time.
It's
Throw it
like,
away.
or like, you know, the food that's on your plate. I'm sure we're all taught this, like as kids, to like finish your plate. So it's like, even now I'm like full, but it's also like, someone said something, I can't remember where I heard this, but they're like, if you eat it, it's a waste because you're already full, and if you throw it away, it's a waste. So just throw it away. But it's still like, throwing away food is just like so like it goes against everything that
Yeah, absolutely.
everything I am.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And a couple times I'll post, on like stories like, hey, this is my lunch, and then 20 minutes later, all right, I'm done. I can go back to an hour, 2 hours, whatever it be later if I feel hungry again. So, I try to mentally, I pack a good amount, but I don't always eat everything I pack. I spread it out usually over 6-8 hours, whatever it may be. So, yeah, so far as it comes to that, it's, the cooking part of it. So when it was just me before I got engaged and got married, I made my food on Sundays, and literally it would last me till Friday. And then Friday I would recook again. And then for a couple of days have something fresh, and then Sunday go back to it. And I was on a pretty normal routine. I mean, it wasn't boring, but it was very same thing pretty much every week. And, when I started dating my wife and started cooking, it was different because she doesn't like leftovers past like 1 or 2 days. So, yeah, see, so you're in the same boat. So now, as you see by my post, I mean, I do probably 90% of the cooking in the house. So when I make food, I make enough for dinner for both of us, and lunch is the next day, and that's it. So
What a lucky wife you have, by the way. No, but seriously, your food looks incredible, by the way. Just shout out to your food post.
Thank you. She does the cleaning, I do the cooking, so I'm cool with that, and I do the shopping too as well too. So we'll take turns on that part, but a lot of it is when I had such a single life for so long that this is all normal to me, doing the shopping, the cooking, stupid stuff, laundry, cleaning the house, stuff like that. I don't mind pitching in and doing it. I know people say, oh, you have your roles or whatever, you could do this. I mean, I did it all myself for so many years. I mean, I moved out of the house when I was 21, moved back in for a couple of years, and then moved back out again when I bought my house when I was 24, at 25. And I had to do everything for myself. So when I settled down at 36, it was like second nature to just keep doing what I normally do. So,
yeah. I mean, that makes sense. So did you meet your wife after you had surgery
yes.
or before you?
After surgery. So, funny story. We went to junior high and high school together. So we already knew each other. I had a crush on her in junior high. She knows about it, and she always brings it up to me, of course. Yeah, we just, after we graduated, everyone went their separate paths, whatever. And, like I said before, I'm in the housing industry, and one of my past clients, kept bugging me to start dating this certain gal. And I'm like, well, I'm good. She's like, no, you have to meet her, blah, blah, blah. And I had my surgery in February, and this was probably around June. She started reaching out to me, where I've already lost probably like 140 pounds, something like that. So I was feeling good, looking good, starting to post pictures, and people started noticing, Facebook and stuff that, I'm losing weight, whatever it may be. And then this past client of mine, she kept bugging me like crazy. And finally I said, you know what? Fine. What's her name? And she gave me her name, and my jaw just about dropped. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. No way she's still single after all these years. So anyways, we started chatting on Facebook Messenger, whatever, and that turned into texting right away. And then we had a first date, which was amazing. It was a day date. We went out at like 2:00 in the afternoon. I gave her a couple options to do. It was go to the apple orchard because it was in October. So go apple picking, go putt-putt golfing because it was still kind of warm out. And the last was go shooting, like shoot guns. And she goes, what girl doesn't want to shoot a gun? So I'm like, all right, sweet. So we went out for sushi. So we had some lunch, and that's where it kind of got a little nervous for me because I've dated a whole bunch of times before that. And that always came up when we ate. Why aren't you eating? Or, aren't you thirsty after you eat? Like, I still, to this day, like I said, I'm almost 3 years in. I still wait the 30 minutes because I feel nauseated if I try to drink something right away. But everyone's different the way it works that way. So when I went on the first date, we went sushi, which is rice. I had like, my soup, a little bit of salad, and then we get to the rolls, and I'm like, I could probably eat 2 pieces and I'm done. And literally I ate 2 and I just sat there, talking as much like right now, rambling on, talking, trying to divert from eating. And, finally, she's just looking at me with that look. And I said, all right, listen, this is what happened. I had weight loss surgery. It's had a huge impact, as you can tell, since she'd known me before. I lost a lot of weight, et cetera, et cetera. And then all of a sudden she goes, yeah, my mom had the same surgery, and just 500-pound elephant got lifted off my shoulders because she understood what I went through. So that helped out tremendously. So after that, she understood, like, I have a regimen of working out. I am on an eating schedule, this, and that. Like, she gets it, and it just helped out tremendously. And like I said, with the support system that I have, she's just been amazing support since day one. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, like I was with my boyfriend before I had surgery, but like I can only imagine being on like a first date and like feeling like you needed to like explain the situation, and just hearing the words that like she understood would have been like, okay.
Oh, it was huge. And dates before that, I felt, I hate to use the word embarrassed, because it's not embarrassing to get surgery. Listen, we all have to admit that we needed help, and we should be propped out more for obtaining the help instead of just living this sad life of being overweight and not liking the way we look with our appearance. So it was hard to tell people on first dates, and some of them I got called back, some of them I didn't. So it's just, I don't know if it was because of that or what. I mean, I don't care, but it just makes you think at the time.
Oh yeah. And do you think that, like, we've talked to a lot of women who've had weight loss surgery. Do you think that there's a different perception for men who've had weight loss surgery versus women? Or like, do you feel like there's more judgment or something against men who've had surgery?
I mean, personally, because I'm a man, I'm always going to say, yeah, I think there's more judgment because, look at our community, how many men there are. There's the men to women ratio is insane. But I am on some Facebook groups where, and I know the last person, not your mom, the person before they interviewed,
Sabrina?
Yes. She mentioned how Facebook groups are toxic, and I wanted to say, yeah, it's crazy out there, some of these posts and what people are talking about. But a lot of the guys on there, haven't had the surgery, and they're like, how do we talk about this? How do we, seek help? How do we go to someone about it? And it's sad that there's a stigma that men can't reach out for help when they need it, and it shouldn't be that way. It's 2019. We're all treated the same. We all can make the same decisions. Like, there shouldn't be any stigma about trying to better and make ourselves healthy versus women going out and doing it,
Yeah. I mean, I think, I'm not a man, but I think that there is like, just in society, there's like there's a perception of, like, that it's more normal for a man to be like overweight.
Yeah.
So like, why should they do anything to improve them? And just to like, not to get too deep, but like, for example, like on King of Queens, like it's the fat husband and this like beautiful wife. And not that I'm not saying that those couples don't exist, but I think as a society, we see that as normal and okay. And it's not that it's not okay, but I think it's just like, and if you're a man who wants to change that, maybe that's just the perception of that is different. Women, I think the understanding is like women are supposed to be thin versus like if a man wants to be thick, like that's okay. I don't know if you guys agree.
No. By what you said, it's kind of like guys get a pass. Everyone's like, oh, the dad bod is great because, it's a dad bod who, doesn't let himself go completely, but, he likes to enjoy his beer and pizza and wings and, you know, cake or whatever. And it's okay because, you know, he goes to the gym once or twice a week, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there's definitely that stigma there that, you know, it's okay for guys to get away with it. But, you know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that the life that I was living and the opportunities that I was missing out on life had a lot to do with being overweight. I mean, I just, you know, I went out, and if I did go out, chances are I was probably whooping up and getting blacked out. So, you know, it's hard to say that, but that's just how I dealt with it a lot of times, where I just get hammered and then we go out to eat after at some diner and, you know, gorge ourselves, whatever. That was just, you know, you get sick of it at one point where the next day you wake up and you're like, ugh, the whole day you're hungover, you feel like crap because you ate like crap, and it's just not worth it when you get to that point. And, you know, I saw this going on for years. It was like a vicious cycle where I would get on a health kick and try to do it myself and drop the 20, 30, 40. I mean, once I lost 50 pounds and felt great, and then you just fall back on what's comfortable for you, you know? And
I think it's commendable for anyone to like if you are someone who's considering weight loss surgery, like regardless of if you choose it or not, like just pursuing it as an option, like it's commendable. It's a good, like, I think that people think it's like shameful, but it's like, if you see this cycle and you want to make a change, like you are making a proactive change to like improve yourself. And I think that should be commended for like men, women, anyone else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just like to tie it back, like you were saying that there's like some like stigmas. And then you also mentioned like we have to be like honest with ourselves that we were asking for help. Like there's a huge stigma for men, like you said, that to ask for help in that kind of a situation, because I think that the stigma there is because it shows weakness, and we have this thing that like men can't be weak, they can't be weak ever. So I think that like it's in the back of our brains too. It's not like people actively do that.
Yeah, it's like a pride thing. Like we have so much pride that we won't even reach out for help. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely there, and I know a lot of people battle with it. But, you know, just, you know, a lot of people who haven't had the surgery, like I have, you know, followers who are Weight Watchers, you know, keto, vegetarian, whatever it is. And, you know, they're all making progress, and it's awesome that they have their own communities. I wish I would have known about this Instagram, you know, community before I had the surgery, so I could really be involved with it beforehand. But I didn't open up an account until 3-4 months after surgery. So I didn't even know about it. I mean, I went to my surgeon. We all have our groups, and the groups that the meetings I went to, I was like, I do not fit with these people. They were in their later 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, already married. And I remember one time I showed up to the meeting, and it was a group of gals in there, and they looked at me and they're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here for, you know, consultation, talk about weight loss. They're like, you look fine, honey. You don't need to be here. And I just started dying laughing, and I'm like, what? And as I thought, what am I doing here? There has to be other avenues. So obviously I had my own personal Instagram. So I just typed in the hashtag weight loss, and poof, it started showing up. And then you start looking into weight loss surgery, and, you know, people are posting their food. And one of the main concerns was when I was going through the pre-op stuff, even when my pre-surgery diet was, what do these people eat after they're done? Like, can they eat like a cracker and be full? Like, what goes on here? And I see, you know, people have been a couple months, whatever, enjoying Chipotle or, you know, making meals for themselves or whatever it may be. And I'm like, yeah, you could do a normal life. It's just everything is portioned, and you just have to make the right choice about things.
You eventually got plastics.
I did, yes.
Which, congratulations, that's
thank you.
Awesome.
Yes,
I'm sure, which it's everyone's personal choice, whatever they want to do. Can you talk a little bit about like what led you to that, and like how it has been afterwards and stuff like that?
Absolutely. So being that I was always bigger as a kid, like, and just, I remember being 7-8 years old, being embarrassed at taking my shirt off at the pool, because literally I had like tits for a kid, for a little boy, because I was a little chunker. You ever seen the movie Goonies? You know,
Yeah.
Chunk, like the Truffle Shuffle, like that was me. And in a nutshell. And like when I was younger and when I was overweight, when kids used to make fun of me, they used to call me Chunk, and they used to really piss me off. But now I see why they called me Chunk from Goonies, because I was that short little portly kid, walking around eating candy bars, whatever it is, and doing that kind of thing. And so that's always been a self-conscious issue of mine, was having basically male breasts. And the older I got, I mean, I worked out a ton in high school and part of my college years when I played college football. But, I built up muscle, but it was always there. And then when I stopped working out and gained weight, it got really bad, where it's like, holy smokes. And at one point, when I was about 475, 485 pounds, I thought, okay, let me just go to a plastic surgeon, get these things removed so I can, start from there, so I could see myself better in the mirror and start wanting to work out more. And it never fell through. So through weight loss, I mean, obviously everyone experienced this, unless you have rubber skin, is loose skin. I've been pretty open about it, showing pictures and stuff like that. But when I lost the weight, I mean, I really had some saggy man boobs. And I hate to say it.
Same, honestly.
You want me to use the correct term? Bitch tits. Like, I had hardcore bitch tits. And that's what guys call them, is bitch tits. And, it was just bugging me, running on the treadmill. And now I know how women feel when they're in sports bras and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you feel it as a guy too, running around doing activities, like they get in the way. And, when you lose that amount of fat and try to build up a muscle, I mean, even when I saw 4 different plastic surgeons, all of them commend me, because when they were feeling around, they're like, you have really big chest, like your chest is built up you've done a great job building up your muscle. Let's help you out. Yes.
Complimenting your chesticles.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes. My chesticles. They're like, when they're feeling around and like, measuring and stuff, like they're like, we see underneath like how much potential you have, but you're just burdened with all this loose skin. Like, and every single doctor's like, I want to help you, kind of thing. So, so when I had the surgery done, I waited 2 years. I told myself, in the beginning, when I first had the VSG surgery and started losing weight, I'm like, oh, loose skin is going to be the least of my worries. I just want to make sure I can go to a department store, anywhere, JCPenney, Macy's, just go somewhere, put on a shirt, and I'll be happy the rest of my life. Being able to just fit normal clothes instead of going big and tall shops. And when I did get to the point where I started wearing regular clothes, like that wasn't enough for me. I said, I still feel uncomfortable. I'd show up to pool parties. I went on trips to Mexico, like on the beach, stuff like that. And I have a shirt on or a tank top in every photo. And I said, let's go all out for 2 years working out, see how much I can do myself. And if it's not changed, let's look into plastic surgery. That's exactly what I did. And 2 years of the date of my VSG surgery, I had my excess skin on my chest and underneath my armpit, my part of my back removed. So
I'm so happy for you, just because I can only imagine like the relief of like being able to like go to a pool and like just live like other people do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I see these meetups like the one in Orlando, like where you guys are on. And I think it's awesome. Everyone's in their bikini, strutting it off. Like that's the way it should be. No one should ever have that feeling in the back of their mind that, should I really wear this and not feel comfortable in your own skin,
Yeah. And I know that like loose skin is a major concern for like a lot of people when they go into it. Like my mom, that's something that she talks, like, she is like extraordinarily concerned about. Do you think like if you could go back, is it still something like if you could never have plastic surgery, is it something that would you still have had weight loss surgery?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would do it over tenfold. It's that wouldn't have stopped me, because, you could buy, they sell spandex and Under Armour stuff that's real skin tight that kind of suck and hold everything in as best as it can. And, that I went through that phase for a while where I was uncomfortable even at the gym putting in hard work every day, where I would have to wear compression gear underneath because I just felt uncomfortable, flopping around with loose skin. So I get where people are coming at, being self-conscious about it. But if I didn't have the opportunity or, let's face it, the funds to be able to pay for the surgery, I still would have gone through. Absolutely. I still would have gone through it because I wear pretty much the same exact clothes pre-surgery as I do now. I get shirts now that fit a little bit more, not as loose, because that's not the style anymore, because everything's freaking slim fit. So now I feel more comfortable in slim fit because I don't have the excess skin on my upper body. So
yeah, I think that's the thing is, I think that people like loose skin sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but I think also like the improvement in your life is like far beyond the
it outweighs so much. I mean, I'd rather have loose skin than have a heart attack at 40. You got to look into that kind of stuff if you're on the fence about everything about it.
Yeah. And also like just to go back to my mom, like my mom is a more mature woman and she has like loose skin from like pregnancies and stuff. So I don't know. I think you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like you're gonna lose hair, but your hair grows back. You might have loose skin, but like your life improves quite a bit just even with loose skin. Ellie, do you think you're gonna have weight loss or not weight loss plastics ever?
I don't know. I mean, I would have to be closer to my goal weight for that, but I wanted to, like how Dre said, I wanted to let kind of everything settle and snap back kind of a little bit. I don't know if that's like it would possibly do that.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Like, my arms, I still have loose skin in my arms, but I concentrate on that weekly. And I filled in a good amount with bulking up with muscle to take away from. Do I still have loose skin? Yes, I do. But I mean, you guys see pictures. I don't look like it unless you're grabbing at it and pulling on it. Then you can tell you have loose skin. But if you, put in the work, I mean, you will see results. Now, everyone's different. Not everyone will, bounce back. I've seen some guys and gals who had no surgery, and I look at them, I'm like, oh my gosh, they look like a professional bodybuilder now. Like, how the heck did you bounce back that quick? And, you must have genes of God or, something where your skin just has, I can't say it, like a rubber band where it just goes right back and you're fine with it, which is amazing. So God bless them if they have that, Yeah.
I mean, it also depends on like everybody's different with the loose skin, because I know that's like the number one thing, like how Sarah was saying, that people come back and say they're like, well, I don't want loose skin. It's like, well, you gained a ton of weight regardless of how you lose it.
Yeah.
Like you might have loose skin. Like even if you quote unquote do it the natural way, you might have loose skin.
And I love how you brought that up, the natural way. Like everything we do is the natural way. Yeah. Whether if you get surgery, you do Weight Watchers, keto, whatever you do. Like,
thank you, Dre.
It's all natural. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, some people get pissed off and all fired up about it, but it's just.
It just grinds my gears because I celebrate if you're on a journey to lose weight, like if that's something that you're choosing for yourself. Like you said, it's all natural, but like the people who put it in like their Instagram bio, like lost 180 pounds naturally with like a leaf emoji. I just want to like go up to them and be like, I want to slap you across the face. I'm not going to, but like, hey, like we've all done it. Like I might have had a power tool, but like we did it too. And I'm not here to say like, I know that. How do I say this? I think people are like, well, it's hard to do it with weight loss surgery. And I agree, but it's also like we had a tool and they didn't. So to me, like, yeah, it was a little bit easier to have a tool and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are like, oh, I lost weight naturally. Like you said, well, no one cut off my fat. Like,
no, I get it. It's not like I had lipo and everything else and everything just got sucked out of me. I had to work hard for this. And, I hate to keep talking, but I have a story where I was at a golf trip about, I don't know, a couple summers ago. It was after I lost, I think about 200 pounds I lost. And there was a gentleman there, a little bit older, probably 20 years older than me. He lost like 30 pounds and, people were complimenting me. Oh my gosh, Dre, you look great. Because they haven't seen me in a year because we just see each other on golf trips. And
right.
Like, oh my God, you look amazing, blah, blah, getting all this attention. And then the older gentleman's like, well, hey, I lost 30 pounds too, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're out on the course, guys golf trip. We've been drinking. and he comes out and says, someone complimented, start talking about it. He goes, yeah, Dre over there cheated. He took the easy way out. And I got right in his face. I looked him dead in the eyes, and I'm like, what did you say? He goes, you had surgery. Anyone could do that. That's the easy way. And I dropped the clubs, everything out of my hands. I got in his face, and I used some words that I don't really want to say, but basically was, I looked at him. I'm like, MFer, I'm at the gym 7 days a week. I watch every single thing I put in my mouth. Like, I am on a strict diet. I'm on a strict plan. And if you're going to tell me this is the easiest way out, you can go F yourself. And literally, I was like screaming at him about it. And a couple guys that'll hold me back, they hold me back, whatever. Couple hours later, the guy's nephews who are my age, came up. He's like, listen, man, our uncle, whatever. He didn't mean it, to be personal, but you got to understand from his point, you're getting all his compliments, this, and that. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to be a dick about it. Like, just pull me to the side and just say, hey, man, congrats, I'm happy for you. Or reach out like, hey, what's your surgery? What did you do first? Ask me questions. Don't go and judge and say I took the easy way out, because it's not easy. And that was one of the instances where I got pretty fired up about it.
Yeah. What was your highest weight, if you don't mind sharing? And then
my highest on record was 491. But at that point I lost weight. So I don't know what I was before that, because I'll be honest, scales didn't go up that high. So I remember buying a recliner for a 500-pound person, and when I sat in it, it was making some noises like it was. So I know I was tipping the scales right around the 500 mark. I don't know where.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No, it's listen.
But like, I remember, like, I know the feeling of like judging the structural integrity of furniture.
Yeah.
Like,
I would go into restaurants and I couldn't even sit in a booth because A, my stomach wouldn't fit over the table, and B, it was just so uncomfortable in a booth. And then when you sat at a table, you look at the chairs, and I'm like, oh my God, I would have to sit all the way at the tip of the chair, put 80% of the weight on my feet. So basically, I'm standing while sitting, just so I felt so uncomfortable about putting weight in the chair so I wouldn't break it. Like, that was like a low point for me.
So you're the like master of like, what are they called? Wall sits? Or
pretty much that's what I was doing. It was like almost like in a catcher stance, sitting, but it just, I had all the weight on my legs, and I would, eat, drink, whatever with my friends or whatever it may be. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, this is killing me. I just want to go lay down, or sit in the couch.
Your friends are like, Dre, we've just been sitting. Why are you so tired?
Yeah. Why are you sweating? That's another thing. I used to sweat all the time, like all the time. It'd be 10 degrees out. I'd go to shovel my snow in a hoodie, and I'd be sweating because I was so overweight. And now, oh my God, I wear layer time. Like, I'm always freezing. Like, and that's another thing you have to like adapt to, is like, you're going to be cold all the time. And I always use the analogy with people like, hey, I used to have a 240-pound sweater on me, and I got rid of it. So of course I'm going to be cold all the time. Yeah. So, that's where it goes with that. But, back to what you were saying about highest weight on record. So 491 was my highest when I sat down with the surgeon. He gave me a goal of 335 pounds. And that was ingrained in my brain. So pre-surgery diet, they gave me a 7-day diet. Of course, I had to challenge myself because I said, all right, you need to be for real, man. I did 11 days. So I started a liquid diet 11 days instead of 7. I see some people that have to do like 2 weeks. I see people that don't have to do any pre-surgery diet, which blows my mind. Yeah, you didn't have to have one?
No. My mom didn't either.
Really? Because I know when you go on that pre-surgery diet, it shrinks your organs, so it's easier for them to maneuver around and get stuff done. I mean, that's the reason why they do it.
My doctor looked at me in the face and he's like, have your regular sized meal. Have whatever you want.
No way. Okay. Wow. That's awesome. I mean, every doctor's different. It's kind of like they have their own paths, own suggestions, et cetera, et cetera. But, I always stress this to people when I get DMs with lots of questions. I'm like, I always say first thing right off the bat, check with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. There may be some people on Instagram without naming names that portray that they act like doctors, but they're not doctors. Like, ask your doctor. If you have a problem, ask your doctor. Whether if you had surgery in Mexico, wherever you had your surgery, like they will pick up the phone or answer emails if you have questions. Like they are obligated to do that. So, on that point, like I said, started at 491, met my doctor up after my 6 months. Already hit that. So I lost 100 pounds in my first 2 months. It's insane. I know it's mind blowing, but I had a really, really, and I stress this to newbies who do message me. I had an extremely hard time my first 45 days after surgery. Every time I tried to progress, because you do liquids and purees, then soft foods. Every time I tried to go to soft foods, I would get sick and have to go back to liquid. So I was pretty much on a soup, protein shake diet for 30 days, maybe even like 40 days first off into this. And I would show up to work. Here's another suggestion. When people ask me, hey, how long should I take off for work? 2 weeks if you have like a desk job. If you're like actively moving, take like a month off. Like you're going to need that time to not only settle in, but get your body acclimated to having less food, less water, all this different stuff. And I made a mistake. I went to work 3 days after surgery. I was an idiot. And I'd show up to the office and they'd look at me and they're like, you look pale, you look sick. Eventually they started letting me work from home, et cetera, et cetera. But my first 45 days was like hell for me. And I remember throwing up over the toilet, just cursing this diet. Like I should have never got this. And I remember like I was at my folks' house because obviously I didn't have food in my house because, I just had surgery. So I went to my parents' house and I remember trying, it was just a little something. I forgot what it was. And I remember throwing up and just violent ones, not like your easy ones that you normally have sometimes if you overeat, but the violent ones. And I remember yelling like, I'd rather be fat and miserable and die than have to go through this. And every day when I'm having a struggle with going to the gym or whatever, I remember the words that I said and I'm like, nope, you got to go do it. And that was like the breaking point of how after surgery, how I felt to progress and move forward. So, after that point, I went to the doctors, after 2 weeks, told them my symptoms. He's like, it's normal, just go step back. And after my 1 month visit, that's, a little bit of normal, but just go back, keep on going back. So I was literally shake soups, that kind of stuff for the first 45 days. When I started eating regular food, and by regular, I mean, like canned tuna or chicken, something like that. And your basic soft food, even egg. I remember I was dying to eat eggs so much. You see how much I post about eggs. I love eggs. So anyways, when I got to first eat my first soft boiled egg, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever ate. And it was just a simple one little soft boiled egg. And that was like the game changer for me that kind of set my whole path on fire to just hit my goals and just get on top of things, and
that sounds excellent.
Yeah, excellent, right? Ecstatically excellent. So, but yeah, that's how I started with that. And I remember starting to walk on the treadmill. I started up with 10 minutes, made it up to 20, 30, 40, 50. The longest I ever did was an hour and a half. And at that point, I was like feeling like I was on a hamster wheel. I was so bored. I do like 5 miles in an hour and a half. And I was like, what? I need to start like getting better at this. And, as I'm losing weight, I went to the doctor. I was like, hey, can I start lifting weights? He was like, yes, you can start lifting weights. And I tell you, the most humbling moment in my whole weight loss part of my life here was going on the bench press. You guys know what the bench press is. I mean, obviously you go to the gym, but laying down, and I'm like, well, let me just put the bar on, just the bar. The bar weighs 45 pounds. I picked it up. I did it once and I go, that was so hard. Where pre-surgery, when I was 500 pounds, I mean, I was still stronger because I was bigger carrying around this weight. I used to throw 225 pounds on and do it probably 15, 20 times, no problem. Just pump them out easy like it was nothing. Yes, I'd be out of breath and soaking wet and sweating and couldn't lift myself off the bench, but I was strong still. And I lost so much muscle and strength with the weight loss. And I started from doing reps with the bar, feeling embarrassed, people looking at me like the time I was, 375, 380, whatever, 400 pounds when I started working out, and people looking at me weird working out at the gym where I'm just doing the bar and then adding 5s and then adding 10s and then 20 and then working myself up. And now I'm still not at the point where I am, but I also got to realize I'm not 20 years old. I can't be throwing around 300, 400 pounds like I used to. I have to keep it. I don't want to hurt myself and then, be caught not working out again. I don't want to get in that cycle. So I just do enough to make me sweat, get a good workout in, and feel good about myself. But it was a humbling start from literally doing the bar, watching other people a quarter of my size doing the bar. And I'm like, wow, she's just doing the bar and I'm doing the bar. But yet I'm like 250 pounds heavier than her. Like, you need to step your game up, bro. Like, that was my conversation with myself. And at this point, I have my younger brother who worked out with me. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a brother that's 11 years younger than me. He's in perfect shape. And when I mean perfect shape, he's 6 foot, 215 pounds, solid muscle, like no fat on him. Yeah. So he was my inspiration to work out and better myself. So in the beginning, I knew what to do, but I needed someone to push me to do it. And he was the person that pushed me to do it. And after, a month of working out with him, I'm like, all right, I got this. I'm on my own, and started doing my own thing. So put in a lot of hard work. I mean, you guys see what I post. I live there. I breathe by it. And the people who think they can lose the weight, be successful without working out, it's very hard. If you look at the common theme of all people in this weight loss community, whether if it's, the Weight Watchers, the keto, whatever it may be, the common denominator is we all work out, we all stick to a plan. And, even if it's 30 days, 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, just do something, get a sweat, feel good about yourself, release those stress, whatever it is, just feel better about yourself. And I can't stress that enough where, people are in stalls. I'm like, listen, change your workout out or change your diet up, do something to get your body reacting, because your body's only going to react so much to what you put in and what you do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think like the thing that people like when you first started going to the gym, it was just, and to me, even now, it's like, even, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, just like the habit of going to the gym, it's a chore like anything else that you do in your house. It's like you don't always want to do dishes, but you have to do dishes. And it's like you're not always going to want to go to the gym, but like that's part of the weight loss surgery. To me, it's like you're changing your lifestyle. It's not a diet. So like part of that is like going to the gym regularly. And it's easier said than done, but it's a chore. It's just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the grind, right? It's like a job that you hate. But at the end you're going to make your money and you're paid, whereas this, you're going to be healthy, you're going to live an extended life, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah.
But
do you have like any like advice that you would give yourself in the beginning of your journey that you would want to like pass on to anybody else going through their own weight loss?
Yeah, absolutely. Most important thing that I'm a firm believer in is don't compare yourself with other people. It's good to use them as a milestone, but if you're looking at someone and thinking you're on the same path or whether if you have the same tool, same weight, same everything, everybody's body works different, right? So you can't compare yourself to other people, because when you're not hitting your goal of following what they're doing or trying to be like them, et cetera, you're going to start getting spiteful. You're going to start getting hateful, and you're going to start, the toxic side of you is going to come out again. And I've seen that firsthand with some people on here where I've, had active chatting with them, whatever, et cetera. And now we don't even talk to each other anymore. And it's sad, but it gets to that point where, when you're on a different level than someone else, because we're all different human beings, we all have the same goal, whether if it takes 3 years, 5 years, 1 year, we all trying to achieve it. Doesn't matter how long you take. Some people are slow, some people are fast. Everyone go at their own pace, and that's one thing mentally, is that I could see people getting discouraged quickly because they're not getting the results right away, because they're comparing themselves to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a big downfall for a lot of people.
huge downfall, and and if you want to better yourself, you have to hold yourself accountable. I post a lot about that too, is that, no one's going to tell you in the morning to get up. No one's going to tell you to pack your lunch or pack your breakfast or tell you to go to the gym or not. It's all on you. This is, yes, you have a support group around you, rooting you on, wanting you to do well and succeed, but at the end of the day, it's all on you. I mean, and I tell myself this, and I even posted about it, is that I made this decision to get myself fat. I made my decision to eat and drink whatever I want and not hold myself accountable for everything. So guess what? It's going to be my decision and my opportunity to better myself and make myself a better person that way.
Damn.
Yeah. Well said, Dre.
I know it's deep. It's accountability, because
Yeah.
I have always blamed other things. Oh, my knee hurts. I mean, you guys seen I had knee surgery during this process. I didn't let it stop me. I've had back surgery in the past. I didn't, I let it stop me when I had the back surgery, because that was 2008. But I had knee surgery where I could have said, you know what, I'm going to take, a month off, relax, whatever. No, I was freaking with crutches in the gym, like 3 days later, holding a cane, working out. Like, no, this isn't going to stop me. Like, yeah, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to do cardio, but at least I can do my upper body while my knee heals, And when I had plastic surgery, that killed me the most, where I had my whole upper body done. So when you're splitting stitches, that's a whole nother ball game to talk about, because I've seen people with their wounds, how they have to keep packing them like a month later after. And thank God I must have amazing Italian skin where it just grew back together and fused all together correctly, because on my back and underneath my arms, I can't even see a scar line sometimes. It's it's crazy. But, it's hard to do that. So I said, all right, once my doctor says it's okay, start doing cardio, go back to square one. Don't go on the elliptical, just do the treadmill. Don't do any lower body, because you don't really want to sweat when you have surgery around that area, because it can get infected, et cetera, et cetera. So once again, took my doctor's advice, did what he told me to do, and everything worked out fine. And once he gave me the okay of that, I had my surgery in February. March, he gave me the clearance to start lifting weights again. I was getting married in May, so I'm like, bro, you have 60 days to like get your ass in shape, like time to hit a couple notches. And that was basically the fuel that kept me going, till I got married. So, and then after I got married, everyone wants to look great for their wedding pictures on their wedding day. And, a lot of people take their foot off the gas and said, all right, I hit my goal. Like, I'm good. Let's take some time off. But once again, you're creating a bad habit for yourself again, telling yourself it's okay. Granted, you go on vacation for a week, like, all right, you get a pass. You don't have to, exercise, you don't have to meal prep, whatever. But you have to get back on that cycle again. You have to get back in that lifestyle form. And, as soon as I got home from my wedding and my honeymoon, I just went right back into my regiment the way I was. So,
I think when we're done here, I'm like immediately going to go to the gym. I'm going to try myself to Planet Fitness. Like, you have me pumped. So pumped.
I had some nachos with plastic cheese last night. I'm thinking oh my God, I
love those. Yeah.
Right? Like I was eating this like liquid cheese that was like, this is a half plastic, I'm sure, but it's like, it's so good.
It's so good. Yeah.
I don't have
What's your
right now? I'm going to like start meal prepping like as soon as we're done. Like
Dre, I have a very important question.
Yes, absolutely.
What was your favorite fast food meal before you had surgery?
Oh my God, so many. I was a huge fan. I would say probably is pizza considered fast food or no?
Sure. I mean, we were former fatties. I think.
Yeah.
We know
pizza was number one, and it'll always be number one in my heart. I found alternative ways to still eat pizza and not be as carb with dough and stuff like that. So I have alternatives to it. Pizza, pasta, sandwiches. I miss sandwiches so much. I love subs. I remember I used to go to the Italian food market here. I get a nice hot loaf of Italian bread, all the lunch meats. I'm talking the good expensive stuff that you don't eat too often. I would make a monster sub and I used to gorge on that thing, and that was like my happy place, and I miss that.
Found, like happiness when at the end of the sub.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. After when I got done and I'm just laying there like Jabba the Hutt, and I'm like, oh, it's just. But you know what? It's instant gratification because couple hours later, I'm like, oh, why did I eat that? Here I go again. I'm gonna be gaining weight because of it. Taco Bell, like I love Taco Bell. It was awesome to me.
Have you ever had a cheesy Fiesta potato?
I have not. No, I have not. No, I used to love. Well, number one, I used to challenge myself and say, all right, you can't spend over $20 at Taco Bell. People, we laugh about it, but there's times I was flirting with $20, just me flirting with $20. I'm like, how do you even, I look at it back, what I had. I'm like, how did I even like talk to myself about that to not spend $20 at Taco Bell? That's freaking a lot of food.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then like you look, and I don't know if it's the same in every state, but in New York, they have to post the calories next to the menu items. And so like you see it now, like I see it now and I'm like, I used to demolish like 3 of those. Like what?
I know. It's insane. And I want to talk about another thing that how powerful the mind was. So another fast food place was Wendy's. I wasn't really a McDonald's fan because their hamburgers were gross to me. All the stuff you post online, I just got gross. I thought, Wendy's, fresh, never frozen, blah, blah, blah. So Wendy's was like my hamburger joint, if you want to pick one for fast food. And I remember manipulating myself thinking, oh, it's potatoes. That's not bad. It's fried. Or, oh, that bacon cheeseburger has lettuce and tomato in it. That's healthy. Like
it's fresh, never frozen.
Yeah, you play tricks on yourself. Yeah, you play tricks on yourself that, I'm not doing too bad. Or I remember at one point, these are like some of the dark days where I go grocery shopping. And because I was walking around with the cart putting groceries in, I thought that was exercise. Like, dude. Some of the stuff that I used to think in my head was, and here's the funny thing, like I go to the grocery store, go spend like $200 on groceries. And then I was too tired from walking around the grocery store. I stop at Little Caesars and get a $5 hot and ready and go smash that thing like it's nothing. Like, come on. Like some of the stuff I used to do, I'm like, no wonder I was so fat and miserable. Like
the mental
seriously.
Gymnastics.
And then after you get done, like you were satisfied for those couple minutes and then you feel, oh, why did I do that? I just spent $200 on groceries and now I just ate a large pizza in like one sitting in probably 30 minutes, so yeah, it's that mental game that I was talking about. It's just your mind has such a power over everything, and it plays tricks on you, and your body wants something, it's going to do what it has to make you get it,
Yeah.
It's like a drug.
Oh yeah. Every time I drive by, even today, like even now, like every time I drive by a fast food joint and I don't pull in, I consider it a victory because it's still like, you still have like, for me, I still have that like urge to be like, oh, I could just get a drink or something, it's just.
Yeah. And I used to reward myself with food. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the office early today. I'd get out the door at 7:30 in the morning. Oh, I got extra time now. Let me go get McDonald's breakfast. Like their breakfast burritos were my jam. And this was my order. 3 breakfast burritos and a large Diet Coke because I got to save on the calories. Like I was that guy drinking Diet Coke. I thought, I'm going to save calories,
So my surgeon's office was an hour and a half away or is an hour and a half away. So I would drive to the surgeon's office and I only had to go there once a month. So it wasn't too bad. And then I would come back and on the way back, I would stop at McDonald's and get 2 sausage McGriddles and a large Diet Coke. Oh,
insane, isn't it? Just that's what we were accustomed to. And, those are like my fast food kicks was McDonald's breakfast, the Wendy's, the Taco Bells, subs, pizza, pasta. I eat a lot of pasta. I would.
Oh, this journey is a trip.
It is. And you just have to, like I said, if I would have gotten this done at 26 when I first saw it, I don't know if I'd be as successful with it as I am now. So, I'm glad that I waited, and waited till I was a little bit more mature and knew that I wanted it and knew that I had to get it. It was literally a life-saving tool to give me the opportunity. And, for people who think, and I hate going back on it, saying it's, the easy way out or not all natural. Brian, I chat with Brian a lot. Brian Fitt,
Yes.
You guys
Brian Richards.
Brian Richards, yeah. Brian Richards Fed. I chat with him a lot. He used an analogy. When you build a house, you can use a hammer and a nail, or you can just use the nail gun. At the end, you have the same exact result. So, yeah, that's the analogy that I use. Like, hey, I'm using this nail gun to get everything done because I need to get it done faster. It's still going to give me the same result. It's going to just help me out more, than using the hammer and the nail. So, yeah, that's it for that part.
Yeah. You have had so much amazing perspective, and we thank you so much for taking the time out of your Saturday to talk to us.
Oh, you guys are welcome.
Just keep being a boss ass bitch. If anyone isn't, oh, go ahead.
It's and I hate to keep ranting on longer and longer, but
no, it's okay.
The reason why I started this account was when I first started looking on Instagram and seeing people, and I still communicate with the people I first started following. It was all women, and I'm like, why isn't there any guys on here? I wish there was more men out there that would show their journey, and show their progression, to show other men, hey, you can reach out for help, you can get it, and you could be successful and still live a quote unquote normal life, and I just want to inspire people each day to put your best foot forward, try to at least put your best foot forward, et cetera, et cetera. So don't let age stop you, whether if you're 21, 41, 51, 61, 81, I don't think they'll do the surgery on you, but never be complacent. There's a reason why we're put on this earth, and you got to live your life to the fullest, and to be ashamed of going out and sitting at tables, afraid to break chairs, like that's not a way to live life.
Yeah. Well said.
Well fucking said.
You're Dre, you are the thickest of thoughts.
Actually, someone messaged me about my picture that I posted, like, you're thick, and I actually had to go on like Urban Dictionary and look up thick. I'm not young like you guys. I don't know like all the lingo. Yeah,
I only know the lingo because I work with college students.
Okay, see, there you go. So yeah, and I have to actually like Google this shit. Like, what's thirsty? What's a thought? And
well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm sure that you've inspired so many, and we appreciate you taking your time to talk to us and all that stuff.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Yes. So if you're new to us, make sure you rate and review. We are everywhere that podcasts can be found: Spotify, iTunes, Overcast, SoundCloud. What else, Ellie? We're also on Instagram, and if you're crazy and you're not already following Dre, make sure you follow him. He's SleevedUpDre on Insta. He also posts dope meals, which I drool over basically. And yeah, you can also join our Patreon, which we have extra content on patreon.com/thickthoughts, including extra episodes every month, just to help support our podcast. But really just listening and rating and reviewing is the best way to support us.
So thank you so much again, Dre. We really
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
It, ladies. Thank you.
Yes.
Have a great day. Thank you again.
Yes.
Get to the gym. Go to the gym.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
A huge shout out to our patrons who help support us and our podcast. First, we want to shout out Asharina Henshaw. Thank you. You're amazing. Adriana Alavaria. You're the Caria. No, that doesn't make sense. Megan Berger. Your last name is delicious. Erica Torres. You're the Moras. The Moras. Lindsay Munger. You're the hunger. Thank you guys all so much for helping support the podcast and Thick Thoughts. You are the thickest of thoughts.